Hello everyone. Welcome back. Welcome back. Lovely to see you gathering. I hope those of you who could not attend our morning in the UK session have had ample time. That's why we put it so early, so you'd have the maximum possible time to watch that rather chunky session before tonight's session. So hopefully you are with us and we are all now together. So welcome. Today, StoryMagic session 2, we are going to start looking at your why story. We're going to start some visioning, looking at that vision that you have for our world. There's a beautiful Greek proverb that says a society grows great, and then I'm going to ungendify it. Society grows great when people plant trees under whose shade they will never sit. And it's this beautiful way of looking at the work we do today, the steps we take today, the actions we make today, having that impact on generations going forward. And because you're here in my world on this course, then for you, your work in the world is not simply about making an income. It is and should be, and we'll get to that later, but it's not just about making an income. And for some people it is, right? For some people that's absolutely fine and it's satisfying to go to work, get your paycheck, go home. For whatever beautiful reason, for people like us, that is not enough. It's not enough for the work we do to only be rewarded with money made. And for people like us, there is this bigger soul urge for that work to be driven by purpose, led by love, and for our work in the world to be making beautiful ripples, tidal waves of positive change out into our world at this time. Now, what is great about that is that's very compelling. Being able to articulate that big vision, that change you want to see for our world, that change that you deep in your bones know is possible, is incredibly compelling to other people who have a similar vision and shared values. And you will find that as you get in the practice of articulating that why story, that vision, more and more, you will find waves of support coming your way because people see that you're up to something bigger than simply trying to make an income. And so it's much more easeful, and there are many more reasons to support you, to share your work, to shout about you and what you're doing and why you're doing it. You craft that story and then other people pass it on. So it works as a business growth strategy, and it also works for you in those moments where it's hard, in those moments where you wonder why you picked this path. It works for you to have that really, really clear vision story that can pick you up in those moments of doubt and when it gets a little bit hard. So today we're going to be visioning. Now, what that doesn't necessarily mean is that you're going to be seeing stuff, right? Some of you, when we go into the visioning process, will see stuff. Others of you will hear things. Some of you will feel things, and still others of you will simply get a sense of something. And I want you to really, really trust your unique experience and make it right. Whatever experience you have, choose to make it right. Don't be thinking, oh no, Kate's saying I should be seeing something and I'm not seeing anything. Right? It's your experience. Whether you're seeing, hearing, feeling, or sensing, you are receiving exactly what you need to be receiving, about the most possible positive outcome in our world of you doing your work here today. So with that, we're going to dive in. We're going to do a visioning. And so it's really important that you are as comfortable as possible, but if you're tired, not too comfortable. So if you're very tired, I would recommend not lying down because you'll simply fall asleep. You can, if you choose to now, get up and move to a sofa. But again, if you're very tired, it might be wiser to stay sitting on a wooden chair. And so make that decision now about where you want to be, if you need to change anything. For me, when I'm doing deep processes like this, I find it energetically important to have doors closed, to have that feeling of containment and safety. So if there's any doors you need to close, take a moment now. And also check into temperature levels. If you need to put a shawl on or take one off, socks on, socks off. Just really checking that you have what you need and that you are best set up to be able to go peacefully within, but not too peacefully that you fall asleep. You can also set the intention not to fall asleep and to get the most from this process as possible and as you are ready to receive as well at this moment in your life. Great. So with that, you can either gently close your eyes or simply lower your gaze down if that feels better for you. Noticing this moment of turning your attention inwards and how strange or familiar it feels. Noticing how it feels to be you in this moment. And this moment. Noticing how with every in-breath your lungs expand, front, back and sides. And noticing as you breathe out how your lungs return. Expanding and returning. Expanding and returning in your own natural breath rhythm. And noticing now how with every exhale your body welcomes softness. Perhaps the tops of your shoulders gently drop. Perhaps your cheeks and cheekbones soften. Perhaps your forehead softens. And your jaw. And your jaw joint up by your ears. And your eyes in their eye sockets. And your top and bottom lip. your tongue in your mouth, and all the muscles inside your throat. And noticing how that softening process travels on down inside. Soft lungs, soft inner organs, soft abdomen and pelvic bowl, soft thighs and knees and calves and ankles, soft feet, expanding and returning. Expanding and returning. And you feel your feet now walking on soft earth through a light-strewn forest. Gentle dappled light dancing on your skin. And you walk towards the tree that is beckoning you, and find your home at the base of the tree, leaning back, feeling held, so held. Held by the trunk of the tree. And you find in the roots of the tree spiraling out a little nestling space that feels like it was made just for you. Just for you. And you nestle yourself in to this mossy space, lying down now and finding your head supported by the softest, mossiest pillow there ever was. Held, warm, supported, soft. You allow yourself now to drift off to sleep. And as you drift, you dream. And you dream yourself all the way down underneath the roots, the earth, down, down underneath the mud and mulch and ancient civilizations and underground rivulets, all the way to an opening, a cave deep in the center of the earth. And in the center of the cave, in the center of the earth, you find a fire with logs laid in a circle And again, you find your place in the circle, held by the mossy log, shaped as if it was shaped to hold the curves of you. Then you gaze into the dancing, leaping flames of the fire. And as you gaze into the dancing, leaping flames of the fire, you see a vision of our world in 7 generations' time, allowing the vision to become clearer and clearer, seeing what you see, hearing what you hear, feeling what you feel. Where is your attention taken first? Following your attention, following where it's taken, staying curious, receptive. How are people being in this future world? How are they behaving? How are they relating to one another? How are they talking to each other and themselves? How are they moving, holding themselves? What do you notice about their energy, their way of being? What do you notice is absent from this world? What are people not doing, not saying? What are people not even thinking? What is no longer a possibility as a result, in part, of you doing your work in the world today? And what else? What else do you notice about this 7 generations time world? Allowing your curiosity to lead you, asking to be shown anything else that it is useful and in your highest good to know today, now. And the flames of the fire begin to dance lights and flicker once more. The vision, the sounds, the sensations dissolving as you find yourself awake in the cave, warm by the fire. And across the fire, on the other side of the circle, is someone I'd like you to meet now. This is your story spirit. Allow yourself to meet your story spirit, here to guide, maybe cajole, maybe provoke. What do you notice about your story spirit? The colors of them, the shape of them, the movement of them. Noticing what you notice. And they have something they want to tell you now. Listen. And you know it's nearly time to go. And they have a parting gift for you that they place now into your hands. And finding your way to say thank you and farewell and see you later. You begin the ascent. Up, up, drawn now by the roots of the tree, cradling you, holding you, drawing you, lifting you gracefully, easefully up, 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 all the way to the top side world, where you find yourself once more waking inside the dappled light of the forest, held by the mossy roots of the tree, and slowly waking here and yawning and stretching, and then finding your feet soft on the earth as you leave, for now, the forest, and find yourself back inside the room you are in, on the chair on which you are sat with your feet on the floor. And taking a deep, full inhale and sighing it out. And beginning now to invite any gentle movement that wants to come, any yawns, any stretches, any shoulder rolls. And taking a moment, you and your notebook, noting down anything you want to remember. Okay. So if you finish that, I'm going to give you the next step. If you haven't, just move on to this one when you have, which is to look back at what your wild voice wrote yesterday in terms of what changes in our world as a result of you doing your work in the world. And start looking for themes. Any themes, any similarities between what your wild voice expressed yesterday and what just now you have seen or heard or felt. So 30 more seconds on those 2 steps. Okay, so we're going to do one more exercise and then we're going to take some shares. So you have a choice. What we're going to do is a speed writing exercise, and I want you to either use the starter sentence, I dream of a world where, or I want a world where. So whichever one is calling you, pick that one and write out the sentence and then carry on and finish it 10 times. So I want a world where, I want a world where, and then keep going. Okay, I'm going to put both options in the chat and you have got 3 minutes. I want a world where, or I dream of a world where. Okay, so pausing there. And then once more, looking over what you've written, looking over what your wild voice said and the notes from your visioning, and again looking for themes. What are the themes in your vision and your desire for change in our world? All right, so let's take some shares. So the invitation is to be sharing either words from your wild voice or the visioning or the speed writing, right? There are three different ways in. Some of them will have worked more for you, some of them will have worked more for others. So either sharing the one that feels most alive, most potent, most exciting, most lighting you up for you, or if you are beginning already to see these strong themes coming through, then share those, or you can also ask for my support on finding the themes if that is proving tricky, if they're hiding themselves from you. So, talking about your vision for our world, remembering what I said yesterday, which is that every time you open your mouth, it's a speaking gig. You never know who's listening, who you might be inspiring, who might want to put you on their platform. So, who wants to share about their vision for the world? I see Becky, I see Marco, who else? Jackie, Diana, amazing. Kirstine, was that a hand up or did I imagine? It is, yeah? Brilliant. I can't see your hand at the moment because I'm looking down, but I'll look up again in 1 second. Jane, great. Anyone else feeling an urgency? Monica, great. All right, fantastic. Okay, so we're going to go in this order. Diana, Jackie, Kirstine, Marco, Becky, Jane, Monica. So, Diana.
Yes. And it is vision, right? Or could it also be the wild voice?
So in the piece that we did yesterday, where the wild voice said, "This is what changes in our world a result of you doing your work," is vision. So it can be that, or it can be the kind of actual visioning that we just did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. And I tell what I've seen, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. If that's what's feeling good. Yeah.
Okay. In 7 generations, there is no real split between man and nature. Functioning is greatly spiritual, telepathic. People come together still, following spiritual challenge, arts, co-creation, wishes. There's a fusion with man and nature. We live there, we are nature. What's not there? Screens, mind energy, stuck energy, no cities. I dream of a world where We are sovereign with only Creator and Earth above us to be spiritual led, and we co-create with the Earth as a conscious being. Oh. We
Wow.
return, yeah. I feel that so big. We return to a simple life, togetherness. We live in harmony with nature. We are part of the whole. We co-create in energy gifts and abundance naturally flows. Creativity is key. We create from what's there and what's needed. There's flow.
Beautiful, Diana. Who wants that world? Yes. We all want that world. Ah, wow. What in that for you feels either most alive and exciting, or, and this is just very slightly different, so answer the one that feels right for you, new information for you?
I think what I said about co-creating with the earth as a conscious being, that really, really hits my heart. And that's where my mission kicks in.
Perfect. Well done. Sorted. Can you just do that for us, please, Diana? Can you just?
Yes.
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 Excellent.
But you need to co-create.
There we go. That's what we are, aren't we? That's exactly what we're literally doing in this moment. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Diana. That was an absolutely beautiful start. I want that world. And I'm also interested to know, for whom is Diana's vision of our world similar to what you saw?
For who? Oh, you have to group.
Very
Wow.
interesting. Ah, gives you hope, doesn't it?
How many hands were there?
Let's do it again to be really clear. Whose vision was similar?
Wow. 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 Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Diana. Jackie.
I'll start. Turn the volumes up. I want a world where everyone feels included. I want a world where everyone feels liberated and free from the thinking and conditioning that makes them feel that they are not good enough as they are, and makes them start fixing, changing, restricting, and feeling that they're not good enough and that something's wrong with them. I want a world where everyone feels liberated, free from their thinking and conditioning that makes them believe that they are not good enough. Ready. A vision for everyone to realize they are whole, resourceful, and creative. They are not broken, they are not imposters, they do not need fixing, and that their innate well-being is limitless. A vision where they realize who they really are is the creative potential that everything we see and know has manifested from.
Can you share that last line again for us so we get to really feel that again, because that's so important and powerful?
A vision where they realize who they really are is the creative potential that everything we see and know has manifested from.
Yeah, just look around the room at those smiles. Ah, yes, please. Yes, please. And I'm going to come back to yours actually at the end, because it's a really great example of the next thing I'm going to ask you to do. But really clear distinctions at this journey that you're going to be taking your clients on is one from thinking that they're an imposter and that they're not good enough and overthinking in general, to knowing that they're whole, resourceful, creative, liberated, and limitless. Yeah, really clear, all there in your words. Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you.
Kirsty, let's hear you.
So with the visioning, the somatic feeling in my body was one of peace, and like the serenity, and people were genderless. Not that they were actually genderless, but the symbol of gender not being something that separates us. So that continued with the I dream of. I dream of a world where there is peace and community. I dream of a world where we are all connected. I dream of a world where people don't hurt people. I dream of a world where trauma is a distant memory. I dream of a world where our connection to one another is full of love and support. I dream of the world where the gender binary does not exist. I dream of the world where love conquers all. I dream of a world where unity is a reality. I dream of a world where our differences are celebrated. I dream of a world where the old world is looked back upon with kindness for the path of evolution.
That's so kind. Isn't it? Such a kind view. Wow. There's this beautiful theme running through it all of our differences not being things that separate us, but things that are to be celebrated, enjoyed, and brought together in community for all. Yeah. Yes, very clear vision. And I loved the simplicity of that very first line, peace in community. Really clear. Is that something that if you used it as a phrase would be enough, do you think, to call you forward, to focus you? This is what I am for, peace in community.
I think it's a reflection of where I've been for the last few days, and that's been a really beautiful place. So I'm interested to see how that evolves as I can settle back into the real.
Yeah, and that was a part of the real world, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was the last line that really resonated for me, was the old world. Look back on with kindness.
And that's really unique. You know, that isn't something that we hear a lot, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Truly uniquely from and through you, as a result of your experiences, both the most recent ones, but your whole lifetime of experiences. Thank you, Kirstine. Marco, let's hear your vision.
Just a little sound check. Can I be heard?
Yes.
Oh, excellent. Good. So in 7 generations, the people have learned the art of empathy again, and they lift each other up through it. Bad things may still happen. It's not a perfect world, but the people feel for each other much more than they do today. The dark age, the egoism has come to an end, and they recognize each other as part of the same divine, as part of the same spark, of the same fire. It is a world where all the healers among us are out of a job. because the people are no longer separate. They're no longer alone. They are together and they radiate a much more generous, a much more positive energy. Again, bad things might happen in this world, but this age is different because we recognize each other as being divine and complete.
Which bit in that feels the most important for you if you were to choose one line or an element of it?
The element is the empathy.
Yeah.
Because that's what I have been accused of in the past, of being empathic, and that also links to the pictures I saw. Actually, I started to see the pictures while you still introduced the process. So what you do has more impact than you think. It started to flow from the beginning, and what I saw was a pillar of light in a room with tiles and with white walls. I linked that to the Sephiroth, to the Tree of Life. There's a station on it that's called Binah, the Palace of the Mirrors. And that is what, for me, empathy is all about, reflecting things back, showing people that they are divine, that they are special, not putting myself in the center stage, but just reflecting back to people. And that in itself can be therapeutic.
Absolutely. Brilliant. So again, it feels really clear that you've got that. The core of your vision is this empathy and us relating to each other and ourselves differently as a result of that. Yeah? Great. All right. Becky, let's hear you.
I dream of a world where change makers feel empowered to change the world. I dream of a world where collaboration is favoured over competition. I dream of a world where people value their inner resources over material things. I dream of a world where we don't ignore the big issues. I dream of a world where inequality doesn't exist. Everyone has a contribution and a value. I dream of a world where everyone can find joy. I dream of a world where those who feel it all are lifted up rather than ground down. I dream of a world where we act before it's too late and cherish what we have. I dream of a world where we all feel we can make a difference and are supported. And I dream of a world where we can think 7 generations ahead.
Which one of those, or perhaps it's a blend, feels most alive and exciting for you?
I think it's empowering the people who feel it all to make change, because they know the change that needs to be made and they feel ground down by people saying they can't do it or that it's too big. So empowering them to make the change.
Yes. Yeah.
Pull that light out through everything.
Brilliant. Yeah. That's the one that felt like it had extra potency to it. The ones who feel it all are lifted up rather than ground down. Is that already a part of your work?
Yes, it's kind of working with highly sensitives, but it's wording it, because I don't think a lot of people know that they're highly sensitive and why they feel it all.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to change things to target more about how they feel about things and what they want, rather than that label, because I don't think they know. If that makes sense.
No, absolutely it does. And I actually think that's very intelligent and wise to go with the ones that feel it all. Because if you feel it all, you know you feel it all, right? You don't need a label for that, do you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Brilliant. I love that. I love the simplicity of that. And when the ones who feel it all are lifted up versus ground down, what else gets to be different?
The big theme that came to the wild voice, or my wild voice, is light. So they feel lighter and they light up everyone around them. and they light the path for everyone else to follow.
They light a path for everyone else to follow. So they're hiding leaders as well.
Yeah. And they know they need to show what's possible. And the people who are perhaps hindering them don't realise that they need them to show what's possible, to believe it.
I really like that. I'd love to hear more about that. Yeah. If you have things to write on that, let them come out.
Thank you.
Thank you, Becky. Jane, let's hear you.
Okay, so I was emotionally moved when meeting my story spirit, which was more of an invisible energy of wholeness. It said, "You are a heart of the world, reveal yourself." And it gave me a golden cup as a farewell gift to take to the upper world.
Wow.
And so what's not there? I put bombs, restriction, alienation. I have a big surprising nuclear theme in my life. So let's see. I dream of a world where people naturally reveal their hearts. I dream of a world of honesty and mutual respect. I dream of a world where higher consciousness is the norm. I dream of a world where we naturally flow with our gifts. I dream of a world where we are in harmony with nature. I dream of a world of great beauty and endless creativity. I dream of a world of teleportation. I dream of a world of instant fulfillment of desires. I dream of a golden world where love reigns. I dream of a world of abundance and joy.
A golden world where love reigns. And then you were given a golden cup and told you're a part of the world. Is that right?
I'm a heart of the world.
You are a heart of the world. That's even more beautiful. You are a heart of the world. And you dream of a world where people naturally reveal their hearts. So this heart energy feels very prominent, very present, and very interesting in opposition to this nuclear bomb theme that you briefly mentioned. Yeah. Do those two things, as seemingly opposing themes, is that a familiar theme for your life? Love.
Yes.
And yeah. Yes. Beautiful. Beautiful. And is that already something you work with overtly in your work?
Well, I'm actually been working on a book. I wrote feature articles for a newspaper in Japan, and I sort of found this nuclear thread. And my work, I haven't come out as a coach yet because I got into the niche thing that you had described, you went through. I know, it was so funny. The day before I got the message of this course, I was pulling my hair out about niche, trying to put it in a sentence. So that was an interesting thing that showed up.
Yes, timing is good like that when we're paying attention. Beautiful. So this is also a great example. I'm gonna use this as another example to come back to for our next exercise that we're all gonna do. Thank you, Jane. And before we do that, we're going to hear from Monica.
Hello.
Hello.
So my story spirit was very expansive, light and love infused. I saw this sea of people and they were celebrating. But they weren't really moving. They weren't hyper or jumping or anything, but they had the spirit of celebration. And I noticed that the wild love inside was out. It was beating the heart of the world and beating each and every one of our hearts. Thump, 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 loud, clear, and strong. And we were all being moved to the rhythm of this wild love heart. I noticed that people's spirits were not crushed into a box anymore. They were generous, loving, connected, gentle, naturally. And this wild beauty and radiance of their souls was lighting up their faces and expanding into their arms and their actions and pervading all around them with the light of the divine, the light of spirit source. And the world that I really want to live in is a world with more wisdom, richness, soulful depth, and emotional maturity.
Yeah.
These are the themes that came through. And what was missing is like the unnecessary aggression, the competition, and the harshness towards each other, and this whole lack and chasing after things. So we'd found the richness inside. We'd found the source within, and things had turned the right way around.
Wow, Monica. I love it. I kind of feel it all pervading, emanating from you. The wild love inside was out. Yes, please. More of that. And you look so beautiful in the wild. You're in just the right location for your message. Absolutely beautiful. Thank you, thank you. So we're doing so well for timing. This is brilliant. Now, the next thing I'm going to ask you to do. Who likes essential oils? Right? Who likes? Yeah, me too. I love them. I sometimes think, I'm gonna go and start my own little lotion and potion shop. That's my secret side hustle dream. And like flower essence and potions and tonics. And who made mud potions when you were a kid? I bet most of you did. Come on, yes. So that love of magic and potion making was there from the beginning. So what I want you to do is to take your vision of the world. For some of you, it might have come through most strongly in the wild voice. For some, in the visioning. For some, in the speed writing. And for some of you, you might have found it sort of between the three of them, right, in these emerging themes. And imagine that you're going to bottle it. Okay, you're going to put it in a tiny, tiny little glass blue vial, one of those really special ones that will be put in a very sacred wooden carved little tiny mini apothecary chest. And what would you be putting? What's your medicine? What's the essentialized version of your vision? So you only have a very small amount of space on this bottle, so you can't write paragraphs. It might be a word, it might be a phrase, it might be a sentence, maximum. What is the essentialized version of your vision? The essential oil of your vision. And it might be as simple as peace, or love, or togetherness. Okay, so I'm going to give you the next stage in this process, because sometimes the clarification of the essence comes by looking for the opposite. Okay, and for some of you, we've already heard some of the opposites in, what wasn't there, right? What were we not doing? What was no longer possible to even think about doing in this future world? And I'd like you to actually draw it out on a piece of paper. So on a fresh piece of paper, on one side, you're going to draw a shape. If it feels good, you might want to draw a little bottle. If you don't want to draw a bottle, you can draw a heart or a star or a cloud or a smush or a blah blah, whatever, it doesn't matter, but some kind of shape on the right hand side of a piece of paper. And write in it what your current awareness of the essentialized version of your vision is. And then this is stage 2. On the other side of the piece of paper, on the left hand side, I want you to draw another shape, and inside that shape write the opposite of the vision. So this is what I was referencing. For a few of you, these were beginning to come through already really clearly. So for example, Jane had peace and bombs, right? Or nuclear or war. So it's really clear, peace, and then whatever word, Jane chooses to use for that. You might have peace as your word, but the opposite for you might be something different because you've lived a different life. The opposite of peace for you might be conflict. It might be confusion. It might be disease. So again, really trust yourself in terms of what for you is the opposite of the vision. And then again, Jackie, that was a great example. So Jackie could have, in her vision, whole and resourceful, and the opposite, not good enough. Yeah, so you're looking for the essence of your vision and then the opposite for you. Does anyone need any support? Carol, great, and then Beth.
Yeah, finding this one really tough.
Okay,
I
so
can't
tell me
find the
what
words.
you've got so far.
What what I want the world, or the essences that I've vaguely got?
Yeah, what do you have clarity on?
It's about being true to who you are, standing up for you, not standing up for yourself, but standing in your own truth, feeling good about yourself, and being who you were born to be, to quote the phrase. And just being very solid, steadfast in that, in the strength about being that. Because when you can do that, that's standing tall, you don't need anything else because you've got it within.
Okay, beautiful. So solid and steadfast inner strength that comes from knowing who you are and being it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we could just about fit that on a bottle.
Get a big one.
Or tiny, tiny writing. Okay, I'd like you to imagine meeting someone who needs this exact remedy. And you hand them the bottle. What do you say?
The phrase that comes into mind that I've pinched from somebody else, but I quite like, is the unapologetically you idea.
Okay, great. So you could have on your bottle, unapologetically you.
No.
No, doesn't feel right?
No.
Okay.
Potentiality.
It's moved away a bit from this. What I particularly like, because it is a unique thread in the messaging that's out there about being yourself, right? Which is, you know, very much out there and great, and as it should be. What I liked that you brought that was slightly different was this solidity and steadfastness that comes from that.
For me, there's like this column, this inner core, this inner strength, that I can just feel it going through the whole body and actually going up into source, and it's also going down into the ground as well.
If you were to describe that feeling, what would you call it?
I can't find the word because it's not confidence, it's
alignment.
That's part of it, yes, it's a big part of it. It's not authenticity, I know that one. It's not that one. Maybe it is alignment for now.
So what about something like aligned and steadfast as yourself?
Yeah, I may have to sit with that.
Yeah.
Steadfast is what I want, but it doesn't sound appealing on a bottle to me. That's just my whatever thinking. Well, people wouldn't necessarily go, steadfast, what's that about?
Yeah, I get that. Yeah. And remember that we're not actually going to be offering. We're not actually.
Here for sale, 30% off.
Steadfast.
Yeah, buy 3, get 1 free.
Exactly. But there's something in there, and I would pay attention to it. There's something in, so energetically, there's something there for you in the energy of solidity and steadfastness.
There is. Yeah.
For me, what's coming is there's something about that being a next level, mature place to get to in the self-expression journey. And I think it's missing in our industry, where there are a lot of people, a lot of voices talking about the need for permission, and this is me, and this is who I am. And some of it is done with a very teenager stamping, or even toddler stamping foot. I will do what I want, even though it's bad for me, kind of energy. And it's necessary, right? It's a necessary, splurgy, messy phase to go through after being tamed and confined. And then there is a need for mature spaces. And that's what I'm sensing is available inside this bottle.
Yeah, because the other theme that runs through is harmony. It's a calmness, it's a sense of stillness as well that goes with that. Would go with what you're just saying, or it does for me.
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
calm, right? It is a peaceful place to get to. There is no longer a need to prove or be seen as this, or it's very, very peaceful, very calm. So yeah, follow this. And then what would you describe then as the opposite?
Unbalanced.
Would you like to hear the word that came for me?
Please, yes.
I heard the word turmoil.
Yeah. Oh gosh, yes. Yeah. Confusion wasn't happening for me, but it was being that all over the place. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's part of
Great.
that whole bringing everything together into that inner core. Yes. No, I
Yes.
like turmoil. Thank you.
Excellent. Excellent. I'm excited, Carol. This is,
Thank you.
I know where we're going. What you don't yet know, but this is good. This is going to work really well.
Thank you.
Excellent. Elizabeth. Or did I say Beth? I was going to come to Beth and then Elizabeth.
Yeah, hi. I'm not sure if I'm just splitting hairs a bit, really.
Yeah.
But I've just got sort of 3 sort of separate words as opposed to a sort of like complete nice little phrase.
Tell me what the 3 words are.
The three words. Well, I put healing, connection, and freedom. But it sounds kind of just like there's not necessarily a kind of cohesive message within it, if you see what I mean. So
healing, connection, and freedom.
Or healed, connected, and free. Yeah. I mean, I've got the opposite, but I just...
Okay, what have you got as the opposite?
Trauma, separation, and sort of slavery, you know, sort of to whatever it is, you know.
So the one question mark I have is over the word healing, because the bottle, you know, the essential version of the vision is healing.
Yeah. Okay.
So the question is, what's that? What's the flavor? You know, what's the unique essence that you're wanting? Wholeness. So you could simplify it and simply have separation and wholeness.
I could, yes. Yeah, that would be simple.
Yeah, I would do that and work with that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, great. Elizabeth.
Hello. So, in my work today, it was the blend between the 3 different processes that something actually came through quite clearly. I was quite surprised for the what is it, and so my bottle has got respect in it, And that word encompasses quite a lot of things to do with what was it? It was to do with things like making a stand for microaggressions, not letting things slide, supporting respect between other people when I'm around them. The scary part of that is I actually can't do that yet. I'm still learning that kind of thing. To do with soft, gentle, feminine power and respect for oneself, and going into the world from that place. That bit came across really clearly. What I then am struggling with is what the opposite is, because I can't find the word that feels quite right to sit opposite it. I've got a really long list of things, but none of them quite fit. So aggression, hate, fear, stress was the closest, irritation, separation, ripped down, squashed, flattened. It's probably the squashed, flattened end.
Yeah.
Just can't quite feel into what the opposite of it is.
Yeah. So first of all, with the respect, because you also talked about not yet feeling that you can always stand up, for example, against those microaggressions. So is the respect, does it come coupled with ability? Is it like ability to voice my needs, stand up for myself, claim respect?
There's probably a little bit of that in there as well. It was one of those, it's come up, it's come out with this, even though it's not something that I feel that I can do yet. So just sort of going with it, that's the right direction of travel.
Yeah. And I agree. And I think oftentimes that is the case, that you get a glimpse of something and then it's like a choice point, because you can either go, oh, but I'm not doing that, therefore I can't, or, oh, wow, there lies my growth.
Yeah.
Some
of the other areas that it sort of came out of as well was from the I dream of a world where, and there was things like animals having space to live, fairness, less extreme poverty. So it's quite a big word for me.
Absolutely.
It covers a lot of things.
Brings in respect for nature, the planet, animals.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, squashed and flattened are definitely holding an energy, for sure. My sense is that if you start with them, you'll get some good story fodder, and then you can always go back and refine and change them.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, excellent. So for your action steps between today and tomorrow, what I'd like you to do is, between your vision, so your little essentialized vision for the world, and the opposite, is, in a moment of quietude and tuned inness and trust, to trust yourself, to take a pen and draw a wiggly line between the two. This wiggly line is then going to represent your lifetime. And then I'd like you to start mapping onto the wiggly line, on the down parts, on the low parts, moments in your life that were you experiencing the opposite of the vision, that were you experiencing being squashed down, in turmoil, misunderstood, unloved, uncared for, disrespected, whatever the opposite is. moments where either you experienced that for yourself or you witnessed that in the world, and just jot down, just give it a title. Okay, and it might be whole parts of your life. It might be like that relationship. Yeah, so at this point you're not needing to get super specific, but just beginning to start allowing to emerge moments in your life that were the opposite. Moments in your life that have shaped you as the person with the vision you have in some way because of these difficult experiences of the opposite of that vision, of not that. Right? That means that in your heart you know how important that is. And then similarly, on the ups of the wiggly line, start mapping on those moments where you did experience the vision. Here, now, in this lifetime, in your life. In relationship, at work, on the tube. It can be as big or as small as it was, right? Or as it is. And so those moments that perhaps you found yourself doing something you'd always dreamed of and it being better and more magnificent than you ever could have hoped, and it was affirmation that yes, this is who you are and you are on the right path, right? Or a gentle, deepening, intimate conversation with a loved one, right? Moments that are you experiencing love, togetherness, difference as something to be celebrated, peace and community, empathy, whatever your vision is. Okay, so you're going to draw vision, opposite, wiggly line, and then start mapping out its difficult moments and then the high. So we'll call them the low and the high moments. And then choose 3 to 5 and start writing out what happened. Okay, at this point it does not have to be good storytelling. It does not have to be well crafted. You can write like a 5-year-old, like this happened and then this happened and then this happened and then he said this and then I said that and then she said this. Okay, it can be awful. It's just about getting it out onto the page. So writing out like paragraph, not long, for 3 to 5 of those moments. That is it. Any questions on that as an exercise for you to do? In terms of how many words for the essential oil, I would say no more than 9. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions in order to be able to do that, Carol?
Just a quick one. Presumably when we do the exercise, we may find that that helps us clarify our essential oil words as well.
Exactly. Yeah. So go with what you've got. Don't let not having clarity stop you from writing. Like, get to whatever level of clarity you get to. Go with that, and then as you write, just as Carol said, you might suddenly realize, oh, it's not this, it's that. You know, it's not abundance, it's worth. Right? Something will form by taking action. Any other questions? Rianne, 3 to 5 of both, but make sure it's a combination. Yes, don't do 5 down or 5 up. Will there be a thread in the group where we can share our bottle opposites? Yes, there will be, absolutely. And we will also, in the email with the replay, we'll write out these steps so you'll have them there for guidance as well. Okay, so great session, really heart expanding session. I love doing this one because I get to feel that we are in it together in terms of what we're desiring to co-create for our future and the future of the generations that we won't get to physically see. So thank you for all you've shared, for all of who you are, and I will see you tomorrow. All right, take good care of yourselves, and bye for now.